information I learned from lectures and expand upon that doing a literature review. The disciplines I called upon were three: biology, psychology, and sociology. Biology's focus is in the evolution of one's health, so it includes the heredity, medical history, age, and gender. Psychology includes the nature of human behavior and how it is affected by internal and external factors. So this would include emotions, relationships, perception, and coping. Sociology's focus is the nature of society and the human interactions within it. So this includes their social networks, their social support, their socioeconomic status, and their education level. Newell's bridging strategy and Miller and Boyksman-Sio's strategy were two that I used for this project. Newell's strategy of common ground is used to describe the commonalities between the three disciplines. In the next slide, you'll see several factors, including social support, education, and socioeconomic status, which are bridged across the three disciplines. Miller and Boyksman-Sio's building complex and multicausal explanations was used to allow the argument of the traditional medical model versus the biopsychosocial approach. And this concept reveals causes that had not been previously accepted. So the considerations, keeping this in mind, we're going to look at Newell's bridging strategy of common ground. And you can see the commonalities formed between the three disciplines, and these are highlighted in pink. Under biology, we have gender, age, and genetics. For gender, more men than women by about 5% smoke. The lowest trend for smokers is in the 65 and older age group, and this may be a result of premature death. The age group of 18 to 24-year-olds has been on the decline by about 5% for the past 15 years. Genetics comes into play in twin and adoption studies. And they believe they found a genetic component dealing with the reception and transmission of dopamine, and this can increase the likelihood of someone becoming a smoker as well as remaining a smoker. However, the exact gene has not been found. Psychology includes the number of previously failed attempts, secondary gain, and Barker's behavior settings theory. So the receptivity to change is inversely related to the number of previously failed attempts. We as humans have expectancies about certain situations, and when these expectancies are typically failure from previously failed attempts, you then expect failure in every subsequent attempt. Secondary gain comes into play if someone experiences illness from the smoking behavior itself. They feel as though the benefits they're reaping from remaining sick, and this could just be extra attention from family members, actually outweighs all health issues. According to Barker's behavior settings theory, every setting has a set of standard behaviors, and individuals are fluid between them. So as anyone going into a setting would actually adjust their behaviors according to that setting and the normative behaviors that go along with that setting. And with smoking becoming an outlawed and more socially unacceptable, this is forcing a historically social behavior into a more isolated one. Under sociology, we have education, socioeconomic status, and societal norms. The higher the education level, the lower the rate of smoking. Lower socioeconomic status is associated with higher levels of distress, and this distress causes the adoption of negative health behaviors as a direct reaction to that stress. Decreasing tolerance of smoking behavior highlights the push for smoking cessation. Previously, alcohol consumption and smoking were paired, however, even for those who would not consider themselves smokers. However, by outlawing smoking bars, society is beginning to decouple these behaviors. Common ground is found with self-efficacy, social support, relationships, adherence, religion, addiction, and physical changes. Cooley's looking glass theory discusses how one develops their self-concept in relation to others. So if one labels someone as a lifetime smoker, they will then begin to integrate that label into how they view themselves. Thus, society is affecting our psyche. Emotional, cognitive, and material support is vital during behavior change. Emotional support includes feelings of comfort, respect, concern, while cognitive support includes information, advice, and knowledge. Material support includes products and services to assist in handling the specific problem at hand. Relationships can enable or inhibit behavior change. If a partner decides to quit while the other one remains smoking, this added stress and temptation of smoking being around will increase the likelihood of failure. However, if both decide to quit together, this can increase the likelihood of success. Duration and complexity of behavior change is inversely related to adherence, while social support is directly related. Many religions do not support behaviors that can be toxic or harmful. This would include smoking. Many turn to religion as a support system and guide through stressful situations, and this includes smoking cessation. Under biology and psychology, we have addiction. Addicted smokers are not only aware of smoking, but they are keenly aware of when they are not smoking. And this is the mind and the body experiencing the addiction together. All three include physical changes. This would include the weight gain that is typically found. It's about an 8 to 12 pound weight gain when someone quits smoking. And although this weight gain is not as harmful as the smoking actually itself, many people find a psychological barrier because society tells us to look a certain way. In conclusion, the biopsychosocial approach attempts to provide a holistic approach to behavior modification. Many do not consider all of the factors that go into behavior change, especially smoking cessation. Many can quit cold turkey, however, for the average smoker, this is not a good attempt, and many fail. So the smoker requires a more intense look at their life as a whole. By considering the factors I've mentioned, long and short-term success is more applicable. In addition to this presentation and the paper, I also created a guide. And it's a user-friendly guide to quit smoking. And it basically takes all of the scholarly language and references and all of that out of it and puts it into being able to use by just an average Joe trying to quit smoking. It includes questionnaires, tips, and action plans, all which will aid in the success of the smoking cessation. Questions?
Did you consider any alternative medicines as sort of a way to be not necessarily controlled, but a parallel to see if somebody who's using maybe like Ayurvedic medicine or something like that might have been effective instead of compared to a biopsychosocial approach?
I included alternative medicine in my guide. It was actually part of the independent study I was doing this semester, and it will be addressed in the paper, but it will be more addressed in the guide because it's the guide to quit smoking. So what other methods besides a patch or just joining a group for smoking are also available to the average smoker? Yes.
I have to ask one.
Okay.
I know that you've put a lot of work and thought into this for a long time. So I wanted to ask you, in retrospect, as you look back, you're proposing an interdisciplinary look at this, biopsychosocial, if you will. Mm-hmm. What do you see are the advantages of this way of approaching it compared to a traditional medical biological only or traditional psychological which only focuses on behavior?
My opinion is it's a matter of looking at smoking or a disease, and from the traditional medical model would just be there's a pathogen and that's causing a disease, or smoking, it would just be that someone's addicted. Viewing it from the biopsychosocial approach, there's so many more factors, as I just mentioned. Just because someone is addicted doesn't mean they can't quit with enough social support and enough education and things like that. So narrowing it down to just you're addicted or things like you have a pathogen in your body, there's nothing I don't think that's holistic in any way, shape, or form.
Could you say a little bit more? You said you used the common ground strategy. There are different types of strategies. Could you say, you talked about common concepts, but was there a particular strategy you used to build common ground?
I would say definitely extension, kind of combining the disciplines and extending one from another.
But extending, did you extend a specific concept, or was there something at the core that could be, a core idea that could be extended through the disciplines to create this integrated
Psychology
approach?
is found through all of the, if I put the chart back up, psychology is the one that included every single factor I included. And that's just because your mind takes over anything. So that psychological factor is a barrier or enables you in any way, shape, or form. So extending psychology into biology and sociology and vice versa.
I'm interested, you said 12,000 deaths each day?
1,200.
1,200.
Oh,
not
1,200. I'm glad I didn't hear you right.
I was going to say.
That's still 1,200 deaths
Yeah.
more than we want. And are those, I mean, who keeps those records, and where's the data that they actually know somebody died from smoking?
The video was from truth.org, and it's the ones where you've seen them, the babies crawling and things like that, or if you quit smoking, you'll beat your wife. They're a little gruesome. But the data is, I mean, I found it in lectures, and then I just took that idea and expanded upon it. And the 3,000 kids starting to smoke each day was found from kidshealth.org, and it was right on the front page. So it's definitely a problem.
Something that people...
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. And it was actually interesting because it said that addiction doesn't actually develop until the age of 18, yet 3,000 kids are starting between 12 and 17. So they're smoking, but they don't necessarily become addicted or realize the addictive behavior until they're 18.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, was there another question?
Oh, I'm sorry, right behind me.
Oh, I was just,
Last question.
I was just interested